Our next guest is very familiar with the problems facing the Democratic Party right now. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice joined President Trump on stage to switch his party affiliation from Democrat to Republican at a rally in Huntington last week. He joins us now. Governor, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. What kind of feedback have you received from your Democratic friends for the switch?
Well, David, first of all, thanks so much for having me. But I've got to say this because I'm listening to your segments before, but you didn't really just have to lead off with the news and tell me that President Obama is coming back out. I mean, why in the world are we doing that? And then the other thing, you talked about appeasement. I know Donald Trump really well. He's a good man. He's got a great family and lots of good stuff. I think back of John Kerry with James Taylor singing "You Got a Friend" over in France.
Oh,
and can you just imagine if we were doing that today in North Korea? I mean, we've got a president that's the real deal now, and he stands up for America, and we hope and pray in every way we don't go to any wars, that's for sure. But at the same time, if we have to, we're willing to go.
You know, it's very interesting. A lot of people probably forget the Reagan Democrats back in the early 1980s, and a lot of their reason for going with Ronald Reagan, even though they've been lifelong Democrats, did have to do with national security and defense. At the time, a lot of people thought the Democratic Party was appeasing the Soviet Union. Ronald Reagan thought you could win the Cold War. He went ahead and essentially did it, even though it happened under his successor's watch. But was that one of the reasons that you made the switch? Was it all domestic, or did some of your reasons for going Republican have to do with national security?
Well, I mean, you know, like I said before, I'm great friends with the Trump family. Ronald Reagan was a hero in my family forevermore, and my mom and dad loved him teetotally to death, and we're very close. You know, I honestly would have to tell you, though, the primary reason was just this. You know, I am a person that just wants to get something done. I am not a politician. I don't think our president's a politician. Matt Bevin over in Kentucky, the governor of Kentucky, called me the other night at 11 o'clock. You know, I loved it because I couldn't think of anything but one thing, and that is just this. My dad, growing up, he used to look at me and say, "Son, if you can't get it done in 24 hours a day, you're going to have to work nights." Well, I'm sure Matt Bevin and Donald Trump and Jim Justice work a lot of nights, and all we want is real goodness. And at the end of the day, what happened within West Virginia here is we got right to the altar with a lot of things that would have really helped our people, and the Democrats walked away from me. That's all there is to it. And we got virtually nothing done that we should have been able to really help a lot of people, and we ended up hurting a lot of people.
Well, you know, when I was watching, and I've talked to other people, I had the same impression when I was watching that rally in West Virginia last week. You look at the people that were there, the folks that were there, and they look like just normal folks who generally didn't participate. I think back to the Tea Party folks and others like them. Were most of them like you, Democrats, that made the switch because of what Trump represents?
Well, I'd say so. I mean, you know, for a long time, my mom used to say years and years ago, you know, you could elect Pluto the dog on the Democratic ticket, you know, if Pluto were to run. But all that's changed in many ways. And right now, you know, Donald Trump won our state by, I think, 42% of the vote. And so, you know, but I would like to say one other thing real quick, and that is you mentioned Ronald Reagan. You know, the gift that Ronald Reagan gave to us was he made Americans feel good about being Americans.
Yeah.
And is Donald Trump not doing that to the common, everyday people every day? He's unleashing us. That's why the stock market's on the move. We've got real hope going on today. And I wish to goodness that we could just get away from all this Russian junk. For crying out loud, this man's got real stuff to deal with. I mean, can you just imagine dealing with Iran and North Korea and all the different things? Health care, tax reform. I mean, it's unbelievable.
We're going to be talking about that. By the way, that phrase, "Make America Great Again," it was first coined, at least in my lifetime, by Ronald Reagan. That was one of his campaign slogans. So they do both represent kind of a rejuvenation of the American spirit. But we got to leave it at that. Governor Justice, best of luck to you as a Republican. We appreciate it.